Hi, I'm Dave Lieber, and welcome to the Dave Lieber Show. That was me falling off the stage at Keller High School about a decade ago, and I did hurt myself. I was 5'9", and when I landed, I was 5'8", but we'll talk about that another time. Today, I have a really special guest, a Hall of Famer. A Hall of Famer. I'm going to repeat that. Earl Dotson, former player for the Green Bay Packers, is here with me now. And Earl?
Hold up.
Yes, sir.
I need to correct that.
Go for it.
I'm a Green Bay Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
Okay, I just don't want
Not
people
the Canton Hall of Fame, but the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame.
There we go.
Which is still a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah. For a team like Green Bay, yes, I'm really happy about that.
It's one of the most historic teams in all of sports.
Older than NFL.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So what I want to start off with you is one word: loyalty. You embody loyalty, and here's what I mean. I was looking at your career, and you were a free agent, and you could have made up to $4 million a year, but you decided to stay at Green Bay for about $1 million a year because, quote, I'm happy here. I like Green Bay. I like the coaching staff. I like the players. So you gave up millions of dollars to stay loyal to the team and the city that was kind to you. Do I have that right?
Yeah. It was. They would have paid me $1 million more, so it's about $250, something like that. But yeah, I love Green Bay. I love the fans. My teammates. That's my family, and like I told them, I said, as long as you take care of me, I don't want to go nowhere. As long as you match my market price, I will stay here. And they did that. And, that says a lot about the team. Green Bay is probably one of the best organizations when it comes to their players. They take care of you even afterwards. I go back probably 6 times a year, and that's them bringing me back. And a lot of programs don't do that.
So do I have that right, that you gave up money to stay?
Yes, I gave up money to stay.
And did people tell you were nuts, or did they understand? I mean, because that doesn't exist in today's world, especially in the sports world. They go where the money is.
The old saying, all money ain't good money. That's what it was. I don't have friends that love for other teams, and it was miserable.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's really kind of interesting is that you also played in 2 Super Bowls.
Yes.
Super Bowl 31 and Super Bowl 32, and you won Super Bowl 31.
We should have won 32 also.
You're still upset about that, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still upset about that. I think we overlooked Denver. We wasn't as serious as we was when we played New England. And they came out, and I give it to them. They played a hell of a game. So, yeah, I think we left that one on the table. And if I could do that one over with, I'm pretty sure all the guys would say the same thing. We would really hunker down and, take it serious.
Is it safe to say that you care more about that second one you lost than the first one that you won? Isn't that strange?
Yes.
Why is that?
And every player you talk to on my team would say the same thing. Because like I said, it's all right to make it to the Super Bowl, but it don't mean nothing if you don't win it. It really don't.
That's interesting.
Nobody remember who came in second.
What do you remember most about the loss, the Super Bowl loss?
And this is me.
Yeah.
I think if we would have ran the ball more, we would have won that game. I really do. Darcy Levens had got off to a hell of a start. I think he was averaging almost 5 yards a carry. And, of course, when your offense is on the field, and that means you're running the ball, you're running the clock, the other team can't win because guess what? Their offense is on the sideline. You go in and you pass, you miss the first one, second one. You off the field, and your defense got to carry the load. And we kind of had that happen in the second half. So I don't understand it. Probably never will. But I'm not a coach. So
Well, another bullet point in your life would be that you played with the same team for 10 years, from 1993 to 2002.
Yes.
That's not common at all in today's sports world.
No. Today you could play a lot longer because they changed a lot of stuff. But back then, no, it wasn't common. And even now, because like I said, guys going to go with the money.
Right.
And I do understand that, because we have to look out for ourselves. I'm going to just say this, because a lot of people don't understand this. The contracts you see, say it's a 4-year, $10 million contract. The only guaranteed money we had was the signing bonus. So pretty much what they do, they break it down into 4 one-year contracts. You can't go nowhere, but they could cut you at any time. So yeah, you gotta understand, like, the lifespan of NFL players in the league is short. So the money you make need to support you for the rest of your life. So I do understand that.
But not too many players last 10 years in the NFL.
Back then, no. But now, yes.
Why now?
Because they changed a lot of things. You look at, they changed the kickoff rules.
Right.
You can't leave with your helmet no more. It's a lot of things they changed in a good way. Even as far as practice, they don't practice on Friday. It's a lot of stuff they did. And like I said, it's good because it's player safety. But back then, it was a blood sport. Let's just say that. It was a blood sport. Well,
that leads me to my next area that fascinates me about you, and that is that you suffered from a tremendous amount of injuries.
Oh, yeah.
And you were constantly in rehab trying to heal.
Yeah.
And it just, especially the last 3 years of, you were in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah, I played hurt a lot. Second or first year, I really don't remember. And that's another problem. My memory's terrible. I tell people I've been hit upside the head. So the first or second year, I dislocated my elbow. Went down, somebody fell on it. This was here. Came back from that, and every player goes through this. So it's not just me.
Right.
High ankle. But
a lot of back surgery.
I was about to say, the worst part was the back.
Yeah.
And where I messed up at, once again, you are playing for the guy on side of you. You don't want to let your teammates down, So I played a whole year on a herniated disc. I would get epidurals almost every week. So when the time came for surgery, this is how bad it was. I had to call my cousin to fly from Louisiana, drive me into Milwaukee and put me in a hotel room. But he had to go back to Louisiana because he was in college. The doctor picked me up from the hotel, did the surgery. When he was done, I woke up and I couldn't breathe. Like, I felt like I was, drowning. Well, apparently I woke up during the surgery. I took a deep breath and fluid in my lungs. So it scared the hell out of me. So I checked myself out the hotel that night. Out the hospital that night, and went back to the hotel. I stayed in the hotel for about a week and got in my car and drove to Arizona and rehabbed in Arizona and came back. As a matter of fact, and here go the thing that I got mad at Green Bay. I do all this. I play hurt. I do all this. They cut me. Then they called me back and offered me another contract and signed me again. But what they did, they took my big money. So yeah, I had a grudge for a little while. I wouldn't go back. Then I started thinking one day, I was like, Green Bay don't have an owner. The staff that did that, they're not even there anymore. So I was like, man, why I'm doing this? And I'm glad I got over that. I'm glad I got over that. Because like I said, that's the good thing about Green Bay. You don't have an owner. It's owned by the fans. Yeah, right. Coaches come and go. But the brand, the organization, itself, it's gonna always be there.
So it's been 25 years since you played. What kind of ailments do you have now from 25 years ago that kind of haunt you? Your back or what?
How much time we got here? I don't think we have enough time for all that. But pretty much, it's the back, and, of course, the whole thing that's going on up here. But pretty much it's the back. I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for the back, I would feel great. I feel great. I have my aches and pains, but the back is the main thing, because I got compounds, so vertebrae are kind of on each other, and it is affecting my hip. So that's a problem. That's the biggest problem.
And that was caused by the fact that you had one job, and that job was to protect your quarterback.
Yes.
Favre.
Yes.
Brett Favre, right?
Yes.
And your job was to keep him whole, and you sacrifice your body to keep him safe. And that's the job of an offensive player, isn't it?
Yeah, those 330-pound guys on the other side, they get paid too. So yeah, we butted a lot of heads. We had a lot of injuries, but yeah, my job was protect number 4. And one thing you learn is you don't want to get number 4 hurt. That's the quickest way to get cut off that team, because that guy was the heart and soul of our squad.
Yeah, he said that, quote, Earl's the quiet leader on the line. Quiet leader. The AP, Associated Press, did a feature on you, and they said that you were a low-profile, humble guy.
Yeah,
that's not, the professional athletes are not low-profile, humble guys. That's different and that's unique to you.
But that's how I was raised. Like that's how I was raised. I never let it go to my head. I enjoyed it, but I always treat. My mom used to tell me this: you treat people how you want to be treated.
Right.
So I don't care who you are. When I meet you, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to listen to you. You know what I mean? And people appreciate that. It really kind of pissed me off when I see guys that they will blow off fans or act like they too big for that. Because the thing is, the reason we could play this game and make the money we make is because of the fans. And we can't forget that.
That's right.
We can't forget that. You didn't tell me which picture now.
Look, that one. Look how big.
See?
Look how big you are.
You put the one with the stomach. Yeah, of course you're gonna do that.
I had other pictures with bigger stomach.
Well, let's turn it sideways. You got one sideways profile?
No, that's all I pulled. But you know what? It said in the stats that you weighed 315 pounds. Is that right back then? Were you 315?
I weighed 315 pounds on Friday, but on Saturday I probably was 330. Because we weigh in on Friday.
Okay.
You have a weight to weigh. So yes, I made that weight, but once I get the water back in my system, 320.
That's big. That's big, man. Wow.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever met anybody that big.
Oh, trust me.
Who could touch his toes. I wanted to ask you about some fun that you have, and it seems like you have a hobby. I wonder if you still do it, which is customizing cars. Do you still?
No.
You gave that up?
I gave it up because of this, and I don't mean to kill the mood here, but I had a 62 Impala, been in a lot of magazines. So I broke it down, and me and my son, Jared, was going to redo it, and I was going to give it to him. Well, when I lost my son, I just lost the love for it. So no, I don't do that no more. I love cars, but it's just something that once I lost my son, it's different. Mm-hmm. It's different. It's the memories are not.
What else did you lose besides your love of customizing cars?
For a while there, Dave, I lost the love for life. You know, I was in a dark place, a dark place. You know, I was a single father, you know, until I married my wife. See, you know, then we had a blended family. But it was just me, it was almost me and my son for my whole life. You know, when I got divorced, it was me and him. You know, so that guy was me. He was just a carbon copy of me. So when I lost him, yeah, I lost a piece of myself, you know. And you know, and what I can say is this. You know, being a football player, you think you're just Iron Man. You can have everything by yourself. I couldn't. And I did something that I think a lot of men should do. I seeked out therapy.
Right.
And, you know, that did a world of good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so yeah, you know, I understand I lost my son, but I know he in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'll see him again one day. And whatever pain he was going through, he ain't going through it no more. So yeah, so I done learned to cope with it, you know.
What was his name?
Jared Christopher Dotson.
Was he proud of you?
Yeah, that's my firstborn. That's
Did he get to see you play professional football?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, he's my guy. You know, I got a younger son, Austin Christopher Dotson. All the boys in my family middle name is Christopher. And he's 6'8", big guy. And he just, you know, this is how God works. You know, I lost my son, but I got a grandson. And we named him Jace Christopher Dotson.
Cool.
So yeah, you know, it put that love back in my heart. You know.
So when you go, you speak publicly, right, to groups, and
yes,
and sometimes you talk about that, right?
Yeah, you know, and that's what, you know. I'm not a public speaker. What I do is I'm talking about what I went through.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's why I try to tell people. You know, I'm not sitting there and I'm writing this down, and you know, I'm telling you what I went through. Because no matter how bad my memory gets with what's going on with me, I will never forget that day that the cops knocked on my door at 7 a.m. and gave me that news. I would never forget that. So yeah, I talk about that and mental health, because I wish my son would have came to me. And the thing is, I saw some of the signs because I went through it myself growing up. But you know, as men, we don't talk about that, especially in the Black community. We don't. I think I hugged my dad 2 times my whole life, and that's when he got sick. That's it. You know,
people think that because you're a pro athlete that you have a wonderful life and everything is perfect and you got all this money. And the truth of the matter is that professional athletes struggle with all kinds of demons.
Yes,
because it's really hard. You're dealing with coaches who might not respect you, etc.
You're dealing with a lot of stuff. You know, you're dealing with, you know, people that are pulling you this way and they want this. You know, you have no one to talk to sometimes because, like I said, you are the people. You are the person people turn to. You know, look at the young man here in Dallas. You know, was still playing ball, still making money.
Right.
All that don't matter when you are dealing with mental health. It don't matter. You know, and that's the whole thing. Like, we as men, we need to learn how to say, you know what, I'm not okay, and seek out somebody to talk to. And the NFL is doing a better job at that now. But yeah, you still have people going through it. And at least know our life, you know, money don't make your life perfect.
Yeah, but like Nealon from the Cowboys.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah. That young kid.
He had everything.
Everything. And had a baby on the way.
He just had depression and he didn't know how to overcome it. Might not have even seen a therapist, right?
No, because, you know, another thing is the stigmatism. You don't want guys to think, let's be real, you don't want to think, you know, oh, you know, he got this going, you know, you hide that you hide what you go through. I never told my teammates what I was going through until I spoke at our Green and Gold Gala. That's the first time they found out everything I was going through while I was playing. And I promise you, he ain't told none of his teammates.
Sure.
But when you're there, you know, your mind is racing, and you think your world is crashing down on you. You know, he probably thought because the cops was behind and a simple ticket he would have got.
Yeah.
But when you're in that state, you feel like your world is crashing down on you. And yeah, you know, like we need to learn how to say, hey, I need help. I need help, you know? I it took a lot for me to bare my soul to somebody, to open up. You know, I don't even open up to my family. You know, my sister, we are close. I don't tell her what I'm going through. But once I found the right therapist, and he's all the way in Colorado, we do it over Zoom. When we talk, it's like talking to a friend.
Yeah.
You know, but a friend that's not going to judge me. You know, and that's what a lot of people, that's what a lot of guys and females that are going through mental health issues. Hey, it's okay. Don't be you can't be ashamed of it, because I promise you, probably 85% of the U.S. is dealing with some type of mental health.
Yeah.
You know, some type. You know, it might not be extreme, but something. You know, depression. You know, especially in today's world. You know, it's hard. Look at these kids, the suicides.
Yeah.
You know, because these kids are living in a world right now that it beats them down. And depression is a major thing.
Right.
But the parents ain't gonna talk about it. The school ain't gonna talk about it. You know, last time you ever seen an article about a kid committed suicide in school? They don't talk about that.
Right.
You know, they hide it.
Right.
They sweep it under the rug. But the thing is, how can you fix a problem if we don't talk about it? You know, we got to bring that to the light. If not, like I said, we gonna just keep this whole trend going, and we don't want that.
So you've dedicated your life to that, haven't you?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes.
And thank you for
Yes.
sharing that.
Yes. You know,
Let's go to a totally opposite subject. That was
let's
serious.
flip it. Let's
flip it. Let's talk about something crazy. What is your take on the Dallas Cowboys going 29 years?
Hold on. First of all, see, you baited me into this. I am not a Cowboys fan.
I didn't think you would.
You know, it just, you know, first of all, Green Bay is America's team. I'm sorry. You know, just because Jerry Jones say, hey, the Cowboys are, you know, we finna just go off that. If you look at check every box, Green Bay is owned by the people. What's more American than that? Just check the box on that. Green Bay is, I think it's 1 year older than the NFL. You know, let's check the box on that. You know, Green Bay is America's team, and I'm gonna go with that.
You know how they named it that? It was an ESPN guy who was putting together the best Cowboy highlights. And he saw that in every town they went to, there were always Cowboy fans.
Oh, they got fans.
So that's how he came up with America's team. It was an ESPN guy.
I do give it to him. They fans that's a loyal bunch of fans. All the stuff the letdowns and all that. Hey, they still ride with their team. I respect that. I do respect that. But yeah, you know, when they had Emmitt Smith, you know, the offensive line they had, that's probably was that's going to go down probably one of the best offensive lines in the history of the NFL.
Really?
I'm going to be real about that. You know, I ain't going to hate on anybody. Big Nate Noonan, like, that was offensive line. You had the receivers, you know, wonderful, you know, Michael Irvin, like, probably impossible to cover.
Yeah.
Then you have Deion Sanders on the other side. we already know how he get down.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had a team, but that's one thing about teams like that. When it's time for contracts, you can't pay everybody. You know, you just can't. Salary cap won't let you pay everybody. So guys move around. You go into that rebuilding years, and unfortunately, the Cowboys been in they rebuilding years for what? 26 years? No.
29.
29? Yeah, they've been rebuilding for 29 years.
The Green Bay fans find that to be pretty funny, I think.
It's funny because you got to remember, Green Bay went through that.
Yeah.
You know, this was what they told me when they found out I got drafted by Green Bay. Some of my friends who played in the league, they said Green Bay is the place you go to die. That's where players went to die, to retire. That was your last place you was going to go. So yeah, Green Bay went through that. Losing season after losing season after losing season. When Mike Holmgren got there, the first player they went after, Ron Wolf. Ron Wolf went after Mike Holmgren. Mike Holmgren was a tennis coach in high school. Then they went after Brett Favre. Brett Favre was third string quarterback at Atlanta. You know,
I didn't know that.
I think it was Jimmy. What's the coach at Atlanta? Jimmy Johnson, something like that. He didn't even know Brett's name. Like Brett used to tell us a story about, you know, he would call him the wrong name. You would never touch the field. So Ron Wolf, Green Bay was playing Atlanta. Ron Wolf was up in the box. Somebody told him, hey, check out Brett Favre. And he just saw him throwing in the warm-ups. And he said, man, I need to have him. So they got him now. And that was the cornerstone of our team. And then we go through the draft. I was in their first draft class. So we picked a lot of good players. So I think we all, started. And then, Reggie White became a free agent.
Yeah, I remember that.
So the thing is, you need a guy like Reggie White to make your team legit. Mm-hmm. Now free agents, when it comes to that, they can say, oh man, Reggie is there. That program is about to turn out. So he gave us that. But he wasn't sure where he was going to go, right? So he said, God would tell me where to go. He would talk to me because he's we lost him.
He was a preacher.
Yeah, very religious. Mike Holmgren called him. And he was like, Reggie, this is God. Go to Green Bay. And killed Reggie. And he was like, he came to Green Bay. All because of that. And like I said, he helped me a whole lot. Him, Leroy Butler, George Kuntz. Like, they took me under their wing. Reggie told me, he was like, man, like, if you keep on working, you'll be a special player. And they took me under their wing. And
you got to have that.
You got to have that. You got to have that.
Mentor.
And, it broke my heart when we lost him.
Yeah.
It really did. It really did break my heart. Because that guy wasn't just a great football player. He was a great person. And you don't find that a lot. You really don't. So, yeah.
Okay, so we have some time left. I want to argue with you about something.
What are we going to argue about?
Well, in my book here, about Don Meredith, the first Dallas Cowboy, there it is. I write about the Ice Bowl.
You told me?
Yeah, and what I wrote and what you think happened are two different things. So let's settle this right now.
Okay, let's go for it.
So the Ice Bowl happens, and Vince Lombardi, the coach of the Packers, has electrified the field.
Yes.
And he promises that on game day, the field will be de-iced because of the heat will come up from the grid.
Yes.
And he goes on TV the night before the Vince Lombardi show, and he talks about what would it be like if he didn't turn the switch on, and how he could beat the fast Cowboys with that Bob Hayes, 100-meter Olympic champion. And the switch doesn't get turned on. And so the field is icy, and the Packers are ready for that, but the Cowboys aren't. And, you know, the referees can't blow the whistle because it sticks to their mouth. And it was minus 49 degrees with the wind chill factor.
That's home field advantage. That's what that is. You know, if you're going to come in a Lambeau, hey, you got to deal with it, with the elements. You know, it's going to be cold. You got to know that. So the field, right?
Yeah.
So he probably did, you know, not cut on the switch, but it wouldn't matter anyway, because you got to think about it. If you cut on this switch, you melt the snow, it's going to freeze back and become ice. So it wouldn't have made a difference anyway.
Really?
And the process would just keep going. Melt, back
And you
to
believe
ice.
that?
Oh, I know that. I played on it. You know, they just changed the field, I don't know how many years ago, but we played on that. We played, I think it was the Raiders.
Uh-huh.
And we might as well had on ice skates. That's how bad it was. You know, you could barely, you know, move.
Didn't you have different kind of footwear that you would use, though?
Yes, but
It would help you not slip?
somewhat. Because like I say, you know, it's a weird thing. You got to wear the right cleats. You know, we got different inches of cleats. And it still don't matter. You know,
Okay,
sometimes it just don't.
So this could make you mad, but what I like to say, and I said it in my book, is that I think Vince Lombardi cheated. And that if the Cowboys had won that game and they would have gone to the Super Bowl, then you know, it would have been called it wouldn't have been called the Vince Lombardi Super Bowl trophy. It would have been called the Tom Landry Super Bowl trophy.
You know what? It's just like,
Would I get killed in Green Bay if I said that out loud?
yes, you will.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's just like every Cowboy fan think Dez Bryant caught the ball in Green Bay. You know, I hear the argument every time. But guess what?
What?
If he did, it really don't matter. They lost the game. You know? Same thing
Excuses.
with that, excuses. It's the Lombardi trophy.
Darn.
Once again, another reason we're America's team. The damn Super Bowl trophy is named after Lombardi.
Well, who calls you America's team besides you?
Probably just me.
Okay.
Probably just me. But, you know, like I said, I'm going to just tell everybody this. You know, I'm grateful for everything God done gave me. You know, and I think people should really look at it. No matter how dark life get. Like I said, I lost my son, suicide. Lost my nephew, suicide. But you know what? I blamed God for a little while, but then I had to sit back and think, like, God gave me a way to take care of my whole family. You know, he gave me my grandson. He gave me both of my boys. You know, he gave me a lot of great people in my life. Oh. So yeah, so it's gonna get dark sometimes, but just know it's gonna be light at the end of the tunnel.
That's great advice. That's not your Super Bowl ring, but that's your lapel ring.
You just picked all the chubby pictures to put me up there, huh?
Well, maybe you were chubby back then.
You know, back then I was trying to grow some facial hair. It took me a while to get this. It took me 52 years to get this facial hair. But yeah. You know?
Yeah, you look like a kid.
Yeah, big baby. That's
Yeah.
what they used to call me sometimes, big baby, you know.
Well,
Or hoss.
Earl Dotson has opened up in a way that very few professional football players and basketball players and baseball players do. He's revealed what's in his heart, what's in his soul, what's in his mind, what his goals in life have been and what they are, and what he hopes to be. Thank you, Earl. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate this, you know.
Me too.
I had fun.
See you next on the Dave Lieber Show. I've got some special guests coming up, and I appreciate you. Come back soon. Bye.